We got cut off, Tyler, so I'll go ahead and say once again, thanks for sitting down with me. And I did notice throughout the interview that you did pull out the Telfair County Threads, kind of try to rep the
Got my
hometown.
got my hat, Coach Burleson. Also, my dad and mom's neighbor. So I got the hat. I got to get me a new one. I got to buy me a new one from them. But that's where the love of the game started, is on those rec fields, and you know, all throughout Trojan Field and everywhere. We had a blast. We had a good group of guys that played ball together, and that's where I really fell in love with sports. Had a lot of really good coaches that made an impression on me, and it all started there. And I'll never forget that. Never forget any part of that. I tell guys all the time, man. There's no experience in sports like playing high school football under the lights, because every level you move up, it's more of a business, and there's some pureness that gets taken away. Not that I don't love I don't ever feel like I work a job now. I feel like I'm doing something I love, but there's something different about playing for your hometown and playing for your high school and playing with a bunch of guys that you've grown up with and played rec ball together and baseball tournaments and all that type of stuff. So I'll never forget that. And Telfair County's always home. I was just down there last week visiting my mom and dad. Sister came down, grandparents, whole deal. So we try to get back there as much as we can. Such a great community.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's where the love of the game all started, man.
Oh yeah, man, I love it. I love it. And, the I'll comment on one other thing that you just said, and then we'll go ahead and get out of here. If I can recall correctly, I think it was Derek Jeter that said this one time about playing baseball. I know, and then with you, it's coaching and all. He said, if you love what you're doing, you you won't ever work a day in your life. I mean, yeah, it's your job, but I mean, do you consider it to be a job? Not really. If you love it that much, no, it ain't. That's not a job to you.
Yeah. No, I got that from, there's a ton of great quotes about it, but I'll never forget my dad, James Bowen telling me that. He's like, make sure you go to school and try to put yourself in a position through how you work where you're able to go and work a job that you don't have to go to, but that you want to go to. And I never feel like I'm working, because I'm getting to live and do something that's my passion. And I'm very passionate about it. And not just I'm competitive as can all be. Like, that's what drives me. Like, I am competitive, but more than that, for me, when you strip all of that away, you don't remember wins. You honestly, you remember the losses more. You don't remember any of those things, but you do build lifelong relationships that you'll never forget. These guys coming over to your house and having dinner and meeting their parents through the recruiting process. To me, it's those relationships. It's, high school coaches that you get to know from coast to coast. And just those relationships, that's what's fun to me, is being out and meeting people and getting to talk and, hearing people's story. And that's the fun part of those relationships. They don't ever change. You'll forget all the wins and losses, every one
Mhm.
of them, but it's the relationship with, number one, the people you work with, the people that are players, and the staff, and everybody that supports the program. But then it's also just meeting people outside of football that are interested in it, or that touch it in some way.
Oh yeah, I love that answer, man. I love it. And but like I said, once again, thanks for sitting down with me, and I hope
I
you and I can stay.
appreciate you having me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I definitely hope we can stay in touch, and hopefully somewhere in the near future we might be able to sit down and do this again.
sounds good, man. Yeah, sounds good. It's about to be go time. So we'll get one after this season. We'll give a better letter grade this time.
Oh yeah,
We have a
yeah,
better letter grade on the 2023 version.
yeah, yeah. That sounds like the best thing to do is to do like a wrap up show for say to try to look like you said. Hopefully it's not an F this time.
No, no hope. We're going to be much better.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah. Well, let's go ahead and say that. Look,
hope's a bad strategy.
yeah,
Hope's a
that's
bad strategy. There's
true,
that
true.
old saying that also my dad told me: you can put your hopes in one hand, and then you could do something in the other, and see
Mm,
which one fills up first. And
hey,
the we're,
yeah.
we're 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 working at it. We're gonna have a much better go at it this year. Excited to get started.
Oh, hey, I like it. I like it. I know. let's go ahead and make a quick prediction per se before we head out of here. I'd say, like you said, was it 3-8 last year?
That's right.
I say at the bare minimum, you guys are shooting for a bowl, right?
Well, hey, I told you I'm not gonna. I don't get into guessing
Yeah,
how many
yeah. You're
games.
not, you're not a big predictor. I mean, you
No,
like
we're
you said,
gonna.
it's what
We got
one
one.
job.
We got one thing on our mind right now. That's training camp, and that'll all be leading to Old Dominion. I don't even know our schedule.
Oh,
I mean,
okay,
I'm
okay.
serious. I know who we play. I don't know the order in which we play them. I know we open up with Old Dominion at home, and that'll be getting our season underway. So I'm not going to get into the predictions. We're going to take it
Okay.
one at a time, and then we'll count them up at the end.
Well, I honestly like what you're doing. I mean, you're one of those next page, just look at the next page type of guy, if that makes sense.
You have to,
Yeah, yeah.
and I think that's an area that we're all growing in whatever area we
Mhm.
work with. Like worrying about the past, that doesn't help anything. You got to learn from it,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
spending time, mulling or in football, right? If I call a play, it doesn't work. If I'm gonna spend time being frustrated about that or what happened on the last play, then I'm not able to focus my efforts on what really matter, and that's the present moment. No different if I'm concerned or worrying about something that's going to come up in the future. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Well, then I'm not focusing my effort on the things that I can control in the moment. So I think we're all as humans trying to get better at that every day. But that's certainly something that I'm taking pride in as a coach. Right, we tell our players all the time it's that next play mentality. It's no different for anybody, and that's 100% what it is, no matter what we do.
Oh yes, it's like I heard a coach tell me one time, and I brought this up in one of my softball interviews. Is for somebody to have selective amnesia is you are to acknowledge that it did happen, but forget that it happened and move
That's
on.
right.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah. A lot of
You
people
got to
may
move
think
on.
a lot of people may not think that that makes sense, but yeah, first, like I said, is I mean, you got to acknowledge that bad play did happen, but then throw it out the door. I mean, to just kind of get it out of your mind.
You got to learn. You just can't dwell on it, right? You
Yeah.
can't have you can't have that spiral and one bad play becomes three.
Hmm.
You can move on. They're all that. They're just a play, right? You don't know exactly how many you're going to get in the game. You can have an idea. You don't know how many opportunities, and you really don't know in the end which ones ended up being the most important. That's why
Hmm.
all of them are important because you don't know which ones they're going to be. But it's just you got to move on and you got to play that one, and you can't worry about what's going to happen on the down the road either because that's
Hmm.
you don't have focused energy when you're doing that. It's hard enough game as it is. It's hard enough to do the job that you're trying to do as a player on the field if you've got focused energy in other directions.
I totally agree. Um, Once again, want to give a big thanks to the sponsors. I know that I try to do it at least 3 times an episode. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do this without these guys, and they're the ones that made this interview possible. I do also want to give a big shout out to the Virginia Tech sports information director, Travis Wells. Great guy. He's the one that actually did set this up. Want to give a big shout out to him. Big thanks for setting it up, and I look forward to our season wrap up show. Hopefully sometime in the near future.
There we go. Hey, I really appreciate you having me on. It's
Mhm.
been a pleasure and an honor, and love what you're doing. When we started talking about this, I've listened to a few of these. You're doing good stuff, and I'm excited about where your show's going. Looking forward to continuing following you in the future. So really, really appreciate you having me on.
I honestly appreciate your comments, man.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Keep kicking it, and we'll do that sometime. And don't be a stranger. I appreciate you having me.
All right, thank you. You take care.
All right, you too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.